The world around us is filled with so many sights, sounds, and sensations that we can easily begin to feel overwhelmed, even anxious. We may not be able to stop the noise, but through intentional awareness, we can learn to filter and focus on what really matters. Hello and welcome. My name is Mary Ann, and I've designed today's practice to assist you in doing exactly that, learning to notice and to simply observe, and to sit comfortably in awareness. Let's start in child's pose. First, come to a tabletop, hands and knees to the ground, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. From here, sink your hips back toward your feet. Knees can stay here, move closer together, or wider. It's up to you. Allow your chest to fall forward and rest on or between your thighs as you extend your arms out in front of you. Head can rest on your forearms or on the mat. Once there, take in a deep inhale and let your breath out with an audible sigh. Do that a couple of more times, letting your body sink into and memorize this shape. If at any time during the practice your body needs to come back here, please do it, especially during our down dog sequence. Now, find the natural rhythm of your breath. Just notice it without trying to change it to match some expectation in your mind of what yoga breath should look like or sound like. We often feel such a strong need to fit in that sometimes we give up a piece of who we are as we try desperately to fit some imaginary mold. Starting with the foundation and consistency of the breath, learn to observe without following the voices in the mind that try to pull us into judgment and criticism. These negative voices in our minds create anxiety and stress that builds up in our physical and emotional bodies, and tension that entangle our digestive and respiratory and central nervous systems. They spill out in words and actions that sometimes hurt relationships and cause pain and bring sorrow. Reach your arms all the way to the front of your mat, and then bring your palms together and bend at the elbows, bringing your thumbs to touch your head, giving your shoulders and backs of arms a deeper stretch. Breathe and notice any new sensations, exhaling any tension out of the body and out of your mind. As you learn to sit comfortably in awareness, you will notice an increase in inner peace. You may find that rather than reacting, you are more likely to pause and then respond. Release your arms back down to the front of the mat and walk your fingers out to the right side of your mat. Notice the stretch in your side body as you continue with your breath. Now walk your fingers over to the left side of your mat. Observe how this side may feel different than the other side, without labeling it as better or worse. Just observe the difference. Walk your hands back to the center. Feel the ground beneath you and draw strength from Mother Earth, and slowly push back into a tabletop position. Check that your knees are about hip width apart, shins resting on the ground, toes relaxed and pointing behind you. Arms directly below your shoulders, palms to the ground. We'll do some cat and cow. Drop your belly toward the ground, open your chest, and lift your gaze. Now tuck your tailbone as you round your spine up toward the sky, lengthening through each vertebrae. Soften your neck. Inhale back to cow or Dandasana. Fill your belly, pull toward the mat, and drop your shoulders away from your ears. Exhale to cat or Marjarasana. Push down through your fingers and palms as you pull your belly button to your spine and round your spine to the sky. Do a few more at your own pace. Focus on moving with your breath. Let the movement be fluid and soft as you gently warm up the spine. Now, continuing with your cat and cow, but go ahead and let it become wobbly, maybe side to side or circles. Notice how that feels on your hips. And forget about whether or not someone else is watching, and notice how it feels to just be a little silly and exaggerated. Come back to your tabletop and lift your right arm out to the side and then up to the sky. As you bring your hand back toward the mat, slide the back of it across the mat and all the way through underneath your left shoulder, letting your right shoulder and right cheek come to the mat. Press into your left fingers as you turn your rib cage to the left. Breathe. Release out of the pose by lifting the face and shoulder off the mat and bringing your right hand back to tabletop position underneath your shoulder. Now lift your left arm to the sky and we'll thread the needle on the other side. Settle into the pose and breathe. Notice any tension you are holding in your neck or shoulders and let it go on your exhale. Release out of the pose and come back to your tabletop. Rotate your hands externally until your fingers are pointing toward your knees. Go ahead and shift forward or backward to adjust the stretch in your wrists. Notice what your body is telling you that it needs in this moment, whether that is to come out of the pose and roll your wrists or stay a bit longer. Observe, choose, respond. Perhaps you can come further onto your fingers and roll your thumbs in a circle. This is so helpful for people that spend a lot of time using a computer. Now, if you haven't already, release out of the pose, back into a kneeling position, and roll out your wrists. Take an inhale and raise your arms overhead. Grasp your left wrist with your right hand and notice the stretch in your left body as you lean to the right. Breathe. Come back to center and switch your grasp and lean to the left, feeling the openness in the right side of your body. Come back to center and float your arms behind your back. Clasp your fingers, letting your hands move toward your feet. And imagine your shoulders are dropping away from your ears. Open your chest and neck. Let your head lean to the left, feeling the stretch in the right side of your neck. And then bring it to the right. Bring your neck back to center. Switch the grasp on your fingers so that the other thumb is on top. Inhale and observe where you may feel tension in your body. And on your exhale, let your head roll forward gently, letting the tension leave your body with your breath. Release your clasp and bring your arms overhead. Grasp your left elbow with your right hand, letting your left hand release toward your back and lean to the right. What do you notice? What are you feeling? Release, arms up and switch sides, left hand to right elbow and lean to the left. How is this different from the other side? Just notice without labeling or judging it. Release and let your arms fall to the side, shoulders dropping away from the ears. Roll your shoulders forward several times. And now backwards. From here, we'll come into plank. Place your hands on the floor in front of you, about shoulder width apart, and walk them out slowly about 3 feet, lengthening your spine and torso. And tuck your toes and lift your knees off the ground. Shift as necessary so that your shoulders are stacked above your wrists. Take a few deep breaths here. Think about lengthening your spine and extending from your heels all the way through the crown of your head. Shift into down dog by lifting the hips to the sky, straightening your arms and pressing your chest towards your thighs. Go ahead and walk out your dog by shifting your weight from one foot to the other, helping to release any tension or stiffness from your hamstrings, your calves, and the backs of your legs. Open your chest, open your heart. The action of opening our heart to others and to the world around us increases our awareness. It provides space to truly see others, to understand them, to appreciate them. Become aware of your palms on the mat, each finger pressing into the mat. Feel the energy. Now, shift the weight slightly to your left foot and raise your right leg up behind you. Bend your right knee and begin to draw circles away from your body with the knee. Let the circles get bigger and bigger and bigger, opening at the hips. And finally stopping at the top and letting that right foot fall behind you toward the left side of the mat. Breathe. Stretch the right leg out again and then bring it down to rest on the mat. Back to down dog and shift your hips side to side. Let's take the other side. Shift the weight slightly to your right foot and raise your left leg up behind you. Bend your knee and begin to draw circles away from your body with your knee, letting them get bigger and bigger and bigger, opening at the hip. Stopping at the top and letting that foot fall behind you toward the right side of the mat. Breathe. Stretch the left leg out long again and then bring it down to rest on the mat and shift your hips side to side and notice how your hips feel. Walk your feet up between your hands, taking as many steps as it takes. Then bring your hands to hold opposite elbows and just hang out here in ragdoll for a few breaths. Let your head be heavy, maybe roll it back and forth. And feel into the space between the vertebrae in your back body, letting gravity guide this shape and decompressing your spine. You can sway back and forth here if that's what your body needs. Listening to our bodies is such an important part of noticing. Allowing ourselves to observe the quiet helps us tune into that place inside of us that longs for peace and rest from all the noise. Gentle yoga lets the parasympathetic nervous system step in and give our bodies and our minds a much-needed rest from the fight or flight reactions that are triggered. At your own pace, begin to lift up from your low back, uncurling your spine and stacking your vertebrae one on top of the other as though they were blocks building a tower, one at a time. Your vertebrae in your neck last. Bringing your head up last and letting it gently land on the very top one. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears and bring both your hands to your heart. Feel your heart beating in your chest. Without putting strain on your neck, lift your chin slightly to the sky and breathe deeply as you open your throat chakra. Notice your breath and take a moment to observe the stillness, the peace, the calm. Now bring your chin back to a neutral position. Take a deep breath and feel the surface beneath your feet. Root down through your standing legs. Tuck your tailbone and imagine a straight spine from your low back all the way through the crown of your head. We are going to move through a Sun Salutation. On an inhale, release your hands from your heart and swoop them up above your head, and palms touch. Bring your hands down through center and place them on the mat, shoulder width apart. Move into plank by stepping one foot back and then the other. Lower your body all the way to the floor, letting your knees land first if needed. Come fully onto your belly and let the top of your feet rest on the mat. Bring your hands under your shoulders and lift your chest slowly off the mat, keeping your elbows hugged into your body. This is Cobra or Bhujangasana. Release back down to the mat. Don't get too comfortable here because we're going to move into downward facing dog. Get there by pushing back up into plank. Let your knees linger on the mat if that helps. And then lifting your hips. Straighten your arms and push your chest through toward your thighs. Walk your feet forward, bringing them between your hands again. From here, halfway lift with a straight spine. Bring your hands to your shin, lengthen your spine, and lift your upper torso away from your legs. Fold forward again. With a slight bend in the knees, engage your core as you lift all the way to standing and raise your hands overhead, palms touching. Exhale into mountain pose as you lower arms to your sides. We'll do that flow again in sync with our breath, with an option to do cobra again or upward facing dog. On an inhale, bring your hands above your head, palms touch. Exhale down through center and place hands on the mat. Inhale, step back into plank. Exhale, lower all the way to the floor if you're choosing cobra like before, or lower halfway for up dog. Inhale, shift your body slightly forward, roll over the tops of your toes, and push up to upward facing dog by lifting your chest and straightening your arms. Whether you're in cobra or up dog, come to downward facing dog, and let's take a few breaths. We'll do that whole flow again, using our breath as a guide. Inhale, walk your feet forward to between your hands again. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward again. Inhale to standing, palms touching overhead. Exhale, arms to your sides. Inhale, bring your hands above your head, palms touch. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, step back into plank. Exhale, lower chaturanga halfway or all the way to the floor. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take a few breaths. Notice the feeling of your heart beating. Sun salutations have a way of increasing that rhythm. Let's do it again. Inhale, walk your feet forward to between your hands. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to standing, palms touching overhead. Exhale, arms to your sides. Inhale, bring your hands above your head, palms touch. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, step back into plank. Exhale, chaturanga, halfway or all the way. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to do a hip sequence. Come to a low lunge by stepping your right foot between your hands. Lower your back knee to the floor and rest the top of your back foot on the mat. Hands come to your front thigh and then lift on up over your head. Tuck your tailbone and sink into your hips while keeping your chest lifted and length in the spine. Guide your right arm across the sky like a rainbow and follow it with your eyes as you look over your shoulder in a gentle twist. Stay here or deepen the twist by taking your back hand around behind you toward your outstretched leg, maybe landing it on the back of that leg. Let your left arm come to the sky and feel the stretch throughout your side body. Take a few deep breaths here, just noticing what you feel throughout your body. Windmill your arms, hands back to the floor, and place them to the inside of your bent knee. This can be a pretty intense stretch right here, so listen to your body. Stay here or play around with opening the hips. Maybe place the right hand to the inner knee and press away from that knee, leaning slightly back. The real goal here is to listen to your body and find the stretch your body wants. Notice where your body holds tension and breathe deeply into it, and then use your out breath to allow that tension or stress to leave the body. Bring that back arm around to the ground if it's not already there, and allow yourself to sink down into your hips, maybe lowering your chest towards the floor. If it's accessible, come down to the forearms or even bringing your head all the way to the floor. This is a great place to use blocks as props. Breathe, observe. Inhale and come back up. From here, shift into Pigeon Pose by first tucking your back toes and lifting your hips. Then take your front foot off the ground, bend the knee, and then place it on the mat next to your hand, and shift your right foot toward your left wrist. Now, the more parallel your shin is to the front edge of the mat, the more intense this shape will be. So adjust your front leg and shin to your comfort. Untuck your back foot, resting the top of it onto your mat, and settle into your hips. Stay here or walk your hands forward, coming onto your forearms or all the way down to the mat. Arms extend out front or head resting on forearms. I'll stay here for several breaths. Take this time to scan through your body and notice what you are feeling. Become aware of the muscles in your glutes and hips, and breathe deeply and peacefully into any tightness and tension. We naturally hold a lot of tension and stress in our hips and glutes. On each exhale, I invite you to let go. Let go of the fear, the anxiety, the uncertainty, and anything that has been holding you back. In this moment, just breathe. Slowly lift your body back up. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, and step back into down dog. Shift your hips back and forth. And then let's take the other side. Step your left foot between your hands and come to a low lunge. Lower your back knee to the floor and rest on the top of your back foot on the mat. Hands come to your front thigh and lift overhead. Tuck your tailbone and sink into your hips. And keep your chest lifted and find that length in your spine. Guide your left arm across the sky like a rainbow, following it with your eyes as you look over your left shoulder into a gentle twist. Stay here or deepen the twist by taking your back hand around behind toward your outstretched leg and maybe landing it on the back of that leg. Let your right arm come to the sky and feel the stretch through your side body. Take a few deep breaths here, just noticing what you feel throughout your body. Now windmill your arms and hands back to the floor and place them on the inside of your bent knee. Remember to listen to your body. Stay here or play around with opening your hips like you did on the other side. Maybe place your left hand inside the inner knee and press it away from the knee, leaning slightly back. Again, notice where your body holds tension. When you find tension in your body, just breathe deeply into it. And then use your out-breath to release that tension, stress, and allow it to leave the body. Bring that arm back around to the ground if it's not already there. Allow yourself to sink down into your hips, lowering your chest to the floor. If it's accessible, come down to your forearms or even bring your head all the way to the floor. From here, we'll shift into Pigeon Pose. Start by tucking your back toes and lifting your hips. Take your front foot off the ground and bend the knee and place your left foot on the right side of your mat, your left knee next to your hand. Remember to adjust that front leg and shin to your comfort. Untuck your back foot and rest it on top of the mat and settle into your hips. Again, staying here, or walk your hands forward. Come onto your forearms or all the way down to the mat, resting your head on the mat. Arms extend out in front or head resting on your forearms. Scan through your body and see what you're feeling on this side. Where is the tension? What can you let go of? Just having that awareness of your body. Now slowly lift your body back up, and this time, instead of down dog, roll slightly onto your left hip and sweep your right leg around to the front, coming to an easy seat. We're going to do some seated poses. Raise both arms overhead, and then bring your right hand to the floor beside you as you lean and stretch the side body. Now place your left hand onto your right knee and bring your right hand out behind you and look out over that shoulder and twist. Keep your spine lifted and twist a bit deeper. Now, take your back arm, lift it high to the sky as you unwind and bring that hand around to the front over your left arm and place it onto your opposite knee. Sit up nice and tall. On your exhale, unwind your arms, and on the inhale, raise them high in the air, and we'll take the other side. Bring your left hand to the floor beside you as you lean and stretch the side body. Place your right hand to the knee and bring your left hand out behind you, looking over your shoulder and taking a twist. Keep your spine lifted. Twist a bit deeper. Take your back arm high, lift it to the sky as you unwind and bring that hand around to the front, over your right arm, and place it on your opposite knee. Now round your back, roll forward, and breathe. Come back up to a seated position and release your arms to the side. Bring your legs out in front of you, taking your time. Maybe shake out the legs a bit. Feel your sits bones connect to the ground beneath you, hands resting on the mat, spine nice and tall. This is Dandasana. Raise both arms above your head, getting plenty of length in your spine, and slowly hinge at the hips, lowering your torso towards your knees. Keep your spine straight and allow your hands to fall onto your shins, ankles, or feet. With each inhale, think about lengthening your spine. And with each exhale, let your torso fall deeper, making sure the fold is at the hips. Inhale, extend. Exhale, lengthen and release. On the next inhale, lift your torso away from your legs and come back to Dandasana. From here, we are going to round down onto our backs, but first, inhale, open your heart and your chest, keeping your legs together. And then as you exhale, let your back round forward and then roll back slowly onto the mat until you are lying down on your mat. We're going to do a modified fish pose. Begin by reaching both arms above your head onto the mat behind, finding your length, and then sweeping them down by your sides, keeping that length. Place your palms face down on the mat next to your hips, and then work your hands and arms underneath your glutes. Now, shift your weight onto your elbows, arch your back, and lift up through your heart, keeping your weight in your elbows and forearms. And then let the top of your head fall toward the mat. No weight on the head or neck. Open the throat and lift your heart to the sky. Just notice the energy coming there as you breathe. Come out by first bringing your chin to your chest, then release the upper body, allowing the spine to melt to the mat. Gently pull your knees into your chest, wrapping your hands onto your shins. Notice what your body needs right now. Maybe rock slowly side to side, a gentle massage on your spine, stimulating that parasympathetic nerve. Bring your knees up to center, your arms out wide on the mat to a T. Press your shoulders into the mat and exhale as you let your knees fall comfortably down toward the left side of the mat. Just let them go where they go. Take your gaze out toward your right fingers and breathe. Bring your knees back up to center, or use your hands if necessary. And then exhale as you let them fall comfortably down toward the right side of the mat. Again, just letting them go where they go. They may not go all the way down to the mat. Take your gaze out toward your left fingers and just breathe. On your next inhale, bring your knees back up to center. And then, keeping your knees bent, bring your feet to the mat, heels close to your buttocks. Bring the soles of the feet together, touching, and let your knees fall out to each side. Bring one hand to your heart and the other to your abdomen. Then bring your attention to your breath. In this pose, I'm going to teach you what is known as a 3-part breath. So as you breathe in slowly, mindfully send the air first to your belly, expanding your abdomen. Then fill up your rib cage, and finally your chest. Do the reverse as you exhale. Feel your chest collapse. Let the air leave your rib cage, and finally your belly. Again, inhale, belly, rib cage, chest. Exhale, chest, rib cage, belly. Inhale, belly, rib cage, chest. Exhale, chest, rib cage, belly. This breath especially helps to calm the mind and the nervous system, relieve stress, and increases the lung capacity, immunity, and blood circulation. Inhale, belly, rib cage, chest. Exhale, chest, rib cage, belly. It's time for our final pose, Shavasana. Gather props or anything you may need to become completely comfortable, and then come to a resting position on your back, bringing your arms by your sides and the palms up towards the sky, and let your feet just relax, fall open to the sides even. Allow your shoulders to relax down to the mat and soften the muscles in your face. Close your eyes and allow your breath to come naturally and softly. I invite you to consider your awareness, to notice what you noticed about your body during this practice. What physical sensations came up for you? And how does your body feel right now resting on the mat? Your toes and feet and ankles, and your shins and knees and thighs, your hips and back and shoulders, your arms and wrists, hands and fingers. Just let everything go. And even as you notice your physical body, take time to consider your mental and emotional awareness. What new thoughts and ideas have come into your mind during this practice? How does your heart feel? I invite you to imagine yourself sitting comfortably in the awareness of your feelings, without labeling them as right or wrong, good or bad, without the self-criticism that often floods our minds. As we learn to hush the judgment and criticism from our internal mind chatter, we give ourselves grace, and we learn to accept ourselves, forgive ourselves, love ourselves, and then sharing that acceptance, forgiveness, and love with the world around us. In our stillness, we become aware of the divinity within ourselves. We see ourselves for who we truly are, and then we begin to see that divinity in others and in all the world around us. Slowly come back to the present moment. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Gently roll onto your side and take a few breaths. And when you're ready, come back to a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. And observe how you feel in this moment. bask in the experience of becoming fully present and aware of your physical sensations, your emotions and feelings. Consider how your relationship with the world around you becomes different as you practice the art of awareness, as you pause in peace, choosing to respond rather than react when faced with something unexpected. Yoga is the artwork of awareness on the canvas of the body, mind, and soul. We end our yoga practice with the word Namaste, which is a symbol of deep honor and respect. May the light and love in me see and honor the light and love in you. If during Shavasana your mind took you to a place that brought you peace, consider staying in stillness and continuing in meditation for as long as comfortable. Namaste.